Hey, good morning, folks. So today we're going to be going with I'm going to showing you how to replace this film that is in your Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra. I've been beating this thing up, and it's time. You can see kind of I've been having some prints start to fail. You can kind of see there's kind of pock marks and things in there. I don't know how well this camera picks it up, but so we're going to go into how to replace this and go from there. So some things you're going to need for this is, one, you're going to need one of these packs of the film. I'll put a link below where I got this on Amazon. It's pretty simple. There's 3 sheets in here, and we'll go over how to do that whole installation process. You'll want some kind of X-Acto knife or knife for cutting. We'll get into that here later. And you'll have the kit that came with your printer. It's going to have some handy stuff in here like these Allen wrenches that you're going to need for this. So we'll get those out and let's get started. So I'll have a little container here for nuts and bolts. We're going to flip this thing over. Alright, so basically we're going to be taking out a lot of these things. I'm going to start off with the 2 on the 4 on the corners. In this model, I'm not sure if those need to be taken out, but we're going to find out. So we'll just go here and we'll do these real quick. And then I have a little container here. Oh yeah, it looks like these are long enough to where you are going to have to go ahead and do those. So we got those 4 out. So next you're going to have, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 other ones that you're going to take out next. So go to the next size Allen wrench. And these just seem to turn out real nice and easy. Now you can see too, as you start to take these screws out, this is going to get more flexible. If any of you out there play drums, it's kind of like tightening a drum head or replacing a drum head. So you're going to lose some of that tension. Alrighty, so we got those. Now this will just lift out once you got all those. And then we have this mess, so to speak. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I will kind of go back, and where you just lifted this out of, I'm going to wipe this off. Now, disclaimer, you might want to wear gloves when you do this because there is going to be resin residue. Don't do as I do. Safety first. But me, hey, YOLO. Anyways, so you're going to see here, you got a little bit of play in this thing. You can see it definitely comes up some. And that's because once you put it over this and screw it down, it'll actually tighten up quite a bit. A lot like a drum head. And you can also note, if you haven't yet, that every one of the screws we've taken out of here so far has been a different size and or shape. This is one of the 4 post ones. These are the ones we just removed, and you can definitely see a difference in those. And then we're going to have these little itty bitty ones that are on this side. So just make a note of that, and they make it real easy so that you don't get confused. So we're going to go ahead and unscrew all these, and then when I get done with that, we'll show you what we got. Alrighty, so we got all the little screws out. This will lift up. Look at that. And like I said, it's pretty dry underneath for the most part, but what I'm going to end up doing anyway is I'm going to leave everything the way it is on the table. I'm going to run a towel around it. So what you're going to notice here is when you take off this sheet, all these holes along the edge, you can, it's hard to see with the camera, but they're all been kind of punched in there by the screws. So we're going to go and put this aside. And next, out of our box, we're going to get one of these sheets. Now, some things to note here. One big thing to note, I should say, is you're going to take film off this. It's on both sides. Your sheet's actually, I don't know how well you can see that, but your sheet is actually in the middle here. So one there, one there. So let's go ahead and get that off. Staticky. So you're going to have your sheet. We're going to put it on here. We're going to try to center it the best that we can, because like I said, you're going to have some you're punching some holes here. You are going to get a little bit. Some people put something underneath here so that it's kind of elevates the center a little bit. I don't think we need to do that. I never really have, but let's try it and find out. So let's kind of get that on there. It's about as center as you can. Put this back on top. And what I recommend is, you're going to want to start in, I always start in some corners. And we're going to start with the little ones. Now if you don't want to punch it straight through, you can kind of go and stick, actually, and kind of poke a little bit, like just a small piece with your X-Acto knife, and then you can kind of push. And it screws in. I always recommend not tighten all of them tight all the way, and do it kind of like when you're changing a tire. I'll go from corner to corner, to corner, and vice versa. Now, if you don't want to poke through with an X-Acto knife, you should still be able to put this on there, hold down the metal, and then just push through, because the teeth, I should say the threads, should grab. A little bit more force, but then, like I said, the threads will grab, it'll punch through on its own. So whichever way you feel comfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this thing together, and we'll go on to the next step. Alrighty, now that we got all these back in, we're going to pick these up. And one of the things you can keep in mind when you're putting this together, let me wipe some of this off, is, whatever surface is facing up that you need to work on, it's going to have recessed holes. So that's something kind of handy to keep in mind. So let's put your plate back down. I'm going to put this over top. And this is where the fun begins. We're going to have to punch some holes. So I'm going to start here in this corner. And again, like I said, what I'm going to probably do here is poke a little starter hole. Now these you're not going to want to tighten down all the way at first. You're going to want to get these going. You're going to want to get them started. Then you're going to go from there. We'll just kind of go, push it in there, get it started. Go over here the other side. We'll do this one. I'll do the push method, where you're just going to kind of hold it steady, get some pressure, and just turn it. And it will turn right through. Just showing you both methods work. So you're going to get that. You're going to turn that a little bit, just so it starts to go down a little. And we'll go over here and we'll do the same thing. You'll see that start to tighten up. Then we'll go back to this corner. Do the same thing. So one of the reasons we do it that way is so we kind of get some even distribution when we first start. You can kind of adjust a little bit here and there. Now what we're going to do next is we will start to put in the other screws, and we'll start off, we'll put the ones here on the sides, and then I'll put the 2 in the middle here, or the 4 in the middle here on this side and this side. And then we're going to go around in basically the square and give them a few turns on each one until it goes down all the way. Just to make sure we're bringing it down nice and even, and we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back. Alrighty, so once you got all these screws tightened down, it'll sink a little bit below here, but you'll know you're done when the screws stop. Like, these screws will actually stop once they're in all the way. So you don't crank on it and over tighten it. Just when it stops, it's done. So we're going to take our knife, we're going to clean up around the edges a little bit. After that is cleaned up, we're going to put in our 4 screws, bolts, whatever you want to call them, that go into the corners. And again, this is going to be something you're going to kind of press down a little bit. Press down a little bit, screw it in. This is mostly for the feet, so you don't really have to worry about any specific order to do this or anything like that. You will have to, like I said, punch through some film, but for the most part, this is more so that your plate sits in the right place. These actually go into a little spot on the printer. But anyways, folks, that's it. So as you can see, we're good to go. Minus some fingerprints I got on here. It looks great. That's why I said you may or may not want to wear gloves when you do this. But like I said, that's it. It's a pretty simple process, and pretty much all the Elegoo vats get changed like this. So you don't have to worry about that. One's going to be just like any other. Anyways, I'll have a link down below for the release film, so you can order from Amazon if you want. The release film that I use, it's made by Elegoo, and it is good for multiple machines. So you can use it for pretty much all their Saturns. And so that's it, guys. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.